Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you my eyeshadow collection. I've seen several videos going around right now just kind of doing this type of video where they show you all their eyeshadow palettes and they tell you which ones they like and which ones they don't like. And I thought it would be really fun to do a video like this as well. I just thought it was really cool just to see what everyone owns, I guess, what palettes they own and which ones they like and which ones they don't like. But like I said, I have seen this video going around, and the most recent video that I saw was by Hannah Faith. If I remember, I will try to link her video down below. That was the most recent one that I had seen. Yeah, so I'm going to I have them kind of sorted. There's about 5 different piles here. So the first pile that I'm going to start out is definitely the one that I think are the worst ones, and then it goes to ones that I like but are just okay, then ones that I like but I just don't reach for, and then I'll go into the top ones. But yeah, let's go ahead and just get right on into it. Alright, so let's start with the worst. I'm starting with the ones that I don't like. The ones that I don't know, the ones I just don't like at all. And the first one I'm going to talk about is the NYX Dreamcatcher palette. I think it's what it's called. Yeah, Dreamcatcher palette. Honestly, I am not picky when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, but this eyeshadow palette is the worst that I have ever tried. I hate it. I don't like to say hate, but I do not like this palette at all. And you might be asking, well, why do you still have it? Well, I just wanted to keep it around in case I do videos like this, or you show you ones that are just not worth buying. And this, frankly, is not worth buying, in my opinion, at all. I find that it is extremely patchy, and it is not pigmented at all. And honestly, the first time I used it, I haven't tried it again just because how bad it was. I might go ahead and try and see if I can get it to work, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know what it is about this palette. I just don't like it. Next one is Party Animal by Laura Lee. Honestly, these are just not colors that I use. Honestly, I just don't think these are great eyeshadows. I like the colors, but they're pretty patchy and they're not the most pigmented, and I just don't ever use this palette just because of those reasons right there. Plus, I'm not a really huge fan of Laura Lee, which I know that probably shouldn't be a reason why you don't like something, but it kind of is. I mean, I like the packaging. I think the outside of it's pretty cool. It's just, I don't know. I just don't find that these colors really work good together. I mean, these two you could probably pair together, but I don't know. I don't feel like I could create a look just using this palette by itself. So that is why I don't like this one. Next up is the Pure Midnight Masquerade Face Palette. This one does have blushes in it, and I believe like highlight in there, but the actual eyeshadow part of it itself, I don't like. I'm trying to figure out a way to hold this. There we go. I don't know. They're not super patchy, but they're patchy. So if I can't create a look just by using the actual shades that they provide, then I don't like the palette. I don't like palettes that I can't create a look without having to dip into a different palette. I just don't like that. And as for the actual face palette side, the blush is okay, but I can't use the bronzer. I can't use this blush, and the highlight is not that great. So yeah, that's why I don't like this one. Alright, next up is another Pure palette, and it is Be Your Selfie. Honestly, I think this is the second Pure palette. Yeah, I really am not a big fan of Pure eyeshadow palettes by Pure. I do really like the colors in here. It's just, I find that they're not very pigmented, and they're just, I don't know, not easy to blend, so that's really the only reason why I don't like this palette, because this is a palette that I would love to use more. It's just, I don't know. I don't like how the eyeshadows perform. So moving on are just palettes that I find are okay. I mean, they're not horrible, but they're not my favorite. First off is the Wet n Wild, what is this palette's name? I don't know what the palette's name is. It's just Wet n Wild. It's just this little bitty palette. It's just an eyeshadow squad. Honestly, I mean, this is okay. I think for the price it's good because I don't think it's very much, but I just don't think the quality is the best. But I mean, really, it's to be expected for what you pay for, because I don't remember how much I paid for this, but I think it was under $5. But I don't know. I don't really have much to say about this one. It just is. It's not my favorite. I don't use it that often. And I just don't think it's very pigmented. And really, that's all I'm going to say about it. Next is another Wet n Wild, and it is not a basic peach. Let me just go ahead and open it up. This is just an okay one. Like I said, it's not super pigmented, but like I can't really complain considering the price for it. Because it is pretty affordable, but it's just not one of my favorite palettes. And I don't find that I use it very often. Alright, next is, okay, so if you don't know the backstory behind this one, this is the Emerald by Beauty Creations. I got this in a Yes Oh Yes subscription box, and if you don't know the story behind this is, I found out was a misprint. So if you want to know more about this palette itself, go check out my video. I do the unboxing and everything and I explain everything. But for the actual palette itself, I think it's an okay palette. Lots of pretty cool colors in there and everything. It's not the greatest palette, really, honestly. Everything blends okay. It doesn't blend the best, and it's not the most pigmented. But, I mean, it is a pretty palette. I just don't ever use it. Next palette is by Ace Beauty, and it is this palette here. Honestly, I really do like the color selection in here. I just don't ever find myself reaching for this palette, unfortunately. I think if I remember correctly, I've only used it a couple of times, and everything blended out okay. I don't think it was super pigmented, but I don't think it was so bad that I couldn't make it work. It's just not one that I find myself reaching for, unfortunately. Next up is Naked by Urban Decay. Honestly, I wasn't super impressed with this palette, unfortunately. I don't think it was super pigmented, and if I remember correctly, it didn't blend out the best. I'll still probably play around with it to try to get it to work. I just honestly wasn't impressed with the quality of it, considering I've always hear a lot about Urban Decay's eyeshadow palettes. This one didn't really work for me. But I want to try to like it, so I probably will try to use it more. It's just, from what I remember, it wasn't anything that I was blown away by. So that's probably honestly why I don't reach for it. Next is by the Crown Pro palette, and this is what it looks like. Honestly, this is just an okay like the rest, it's just a palette I don't reach for. I honestly don't like how big the pan sizes are. It kind of throws me off because it doesn't look like an eyeshadow palette, and honestly they don't perform the best, and they're not super pigmented. So that's one of the reasons why I don't grab for this one. Next is by Profusion, and it is the Sienna's palette. Honestly, I do like this. This is just like the others. It's just a palette that is not super pigmented. Like, I like how wide of a range of colors it has, but again, just not very pigmented. I don't know. I'll probably still try to play around with this one just because I want to try to get it to work, because I really want to like this one. I like I said, the wide range of colors it has in there. It has a fair amount of metallics, and then it also has a lot of mattes. So I will probably still keep this one. It's not the best, if I'm being completely honest. Alright, moving on to palettes that I like. I like them, and I need to reach for them more, but I just don't. And I don't know. I have an unfortunate habit of just when I find one palette that I like, I just constantly use that one over and over again. And I do need to, you know, step out of my zone and try to use more than what I have been, but I don't know. That's just the way I am. Alright, so first up is the Wet n Wild eyeshadow palette. I think it's Fire. It's just a bunch of metallics, and I know what I said about I don't like palettes that I can't, you know, make a full look out of, but honestly, I bought this with the intent of just, you know, using these as toppers to looks that I have, because I think at one point I was trying to make a certain look, and I bought this because I really liked the colors it had, and I wanted to try the Wet n Wild out, so that's why I bought it. But these are good from what I remember correctly. Yeah, I mean, there's a swatch of just one. I mean, it's super pretty. And just pull it out and just use it again, honestly, because there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't. Alright, next is by Tarte, Rainforest of the Sea, Volume 3 by Tarte. Honestly, these are just gorgeous. This is a gorgeous palette, and I do like it. And from what I remember correctly, I really did like how it performed. I don't know why I don't grab it. It's a really pretty palette, and I need to use this one more. Now, this next four, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on it. I personally don't see anything wrong with them, but a lot of people didn't like them. And that is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Bulk Collection. Honestly, I bought it, and I mean, I will say that these eyeshadows aren't as good as her first palette for sure, but I don't think they're as bad as people say they are. So first up is the Ring the Alarm palette. And I did a whole series where I created looks from them and everything. I don't find that there's anything wrong with them. With these palettes, you have to have a certain look in mind already when you're going to use them. At least for me personally, I have to have a certain look that I'm wanting, or a certain look. I have to have a certain look in mind, and I have to have certain colors that I'm needing to use these palettes. Because this one's Ring the Alarm, and it's just not something that I can see that I use every day. These are not shades that I would use on a daily basis, and that's honestly the only reason why I don't grab for these. Next is Dark Magic, because I honestly, whenever I do my eyeshadow every day, I mean, I really like these palettes, and I don't regret buying them. It's just I don't ever use these dark shades ever, unless I have a certain look in mind. Next is Armed and Gorgeous. But I mean, they're super pretty, and from what I remember, they work just fine to me. And then this one is Bling Boss. This one is super pretty. Oh, it's gorgeous. And just look at that, it's so pretty. I need to start using those palettes again. Gosh, it's so pretty. Alright, next up is one that I just recently got, and I got it in my BoxyCharm, and that is by Pure, and that is the Festival palette. Now, I know I said I don't like Pure palettes, and I haven't liked any up until now. This is the only one that I've liked, but there is some things I don't like about it either. And honestly, the metallics work wonderfully, the mattes work wonderfully. I just don't like these glitters. I didn't like how I don't know. When I used it, it did stay throughout the day, but getting it off was a pain. I mean, I don't think I'll ever use these just because of how hard it was to get it off. And even after I got it off, I still had glitter everywhere. So I just kind of gave up and just let it fall off on its own. But the other shades work just fine. They're very pretty, and they blend it out really nicely. But unfortunately, I just haven't grabbed this again just because, I don't know. I need to, but I haven't. Alright, 2 more in this category and then I'll move on to the next. So the next up is by the Alamore Cosmetics Eyeshadow Palette Volume 1. I got this in a BoxyCharm a while back. I honestly don't know why I haven't reached for this because this palette is wonderful. These metallics are very beautiful and they work, you know, very pigmented, and if I remember correctly, these blended out pretty nicely too and are pretty pigmented as well. And honestly, I think I'm going to do a tutorial soon using this palette for a summer look. I just don't know what look I'm going to do yet, but I do plan on doing a tutorial using this. Next up is by Pretty Vulgar, and that is the Nightingale palette. This is probably the only, well, I don't say only, but this is a very cool toned palette. I do really like how the eyeshadows work and everything. They blend out really good and they're pretty pigmented. I don't use cool tones a whole lot, or at least not on a daily basis, and that's really the only reason why I don't reach for this palette a whole lot. It's just because it's not really in my comfy zone of colors. I really do need to step out of it, and I do need to use this palette a lot because this is a really good palette. It doesn't seem like I have many palettes with just a black shade in it, so I do reach into this every once in a while just to use this black shade. To use it as like a liner. I sometimes line the top of my eyelid with it. But yeah, I need to go back into that one. Alright, and moving up towards the ones that I really like, and then I'll get into my top 2. Alright, so first off is this Morphe palette, and it is a Night Master, and it's 15N, and yeah, this is another recent one that I've gotten. I got it in my Boxy Look, and I really, really like this one. The eyeshadows work very good. They blend out beautifully, and they're very pigmented, and I look forward to using this more in the future. And it does have a lot of neutrals, which I like, because, like I said, I use neutrals a lot. Next up is by Violet Voss, and it is the Pro Eyeshadows, and it is, I think the palette's name is hashtag My Holy Grail. Yeah, this, I need to use this more. Just look at those. They're beautiful. Why have I not used this more? I don't know. I need to. Yeah. I'm gonna have to do another tutorial using this palette. These shadows are just gorgeous. Oh my gosh, so creamy too. Just look at that. So, what is wrong with me? I have this wonderful palette and I haven't used a whole lot of it. Yep, I'm gonna have to use more of this. But yes, very, very pigmented, and from what I remember, they blended out pretty good. Alright, and last in this category is the Jaclyn Hill palette. This one, if I were to buy either of her 2 palettes, I would definitely buy this one over the Vault collection, just because this one is a very, very good palette. They're all very pigmented and they blend out very good. The only thing is I wish it had a mirror, but honestly I don't. That's just me being picky. But yeah, I really don't have any complaints about this palette. I love the wide selection of colors in here, especially this section here. But yeah, I think I'm going to be also doing a tutorial using this one as well. Alright, and then moving on to my top 2. And out of all these palettes, if you could only buy 2, these are the ones that I would definitely buy. First one I'm showing is the Zodiac palette, and this is a ColourPop palette, and it is in collaboration with Kathleen Lights. Honestly, I need to buy more ColourPop palettes because I've been just so impressed. Yeah, I don't know how to, I don't know what to say about this palette, just that it is super good, and I love that it has a big mirror up down here. And honestly, I don't use this one as much as I should, but it's not because I don't like it, it's just this would be for more of a special occasion, like if I'm wanting to dress up or something, a night out. This is what I would use for sure. But the overall top, the very top of my list, the one that I use every day whenever I do my makeup is, big surprise, Dream Street ColourPop palette in collaboration with Kathleen Lights. Oh my gosh, this palette. This is my favorite, the best of my palettes. This is my favorite out of them all. This is the one that I use constantly, especially this shade right here. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's a pretty good size, not huge, but there's a dent in there from how much I use that shade right there. Yeah, I use this one every day. Every time I do my makeup, this is the palette I'm using, especially this shade, and I really like this shade as well, and also this one. And I love these metallic shades. They make a look so good. Like, that is what I have on my eyes right now. And honestly, I only use two or three shades. I use the shade right here as the base, and then I use the shade as the topper, and then I lined my top with this one right here. But yeah, this is, I am so glad I bought these two, because I bought them in a bundle, I think, and I'm so glad I purchased these. This is the best purchase I've ever done when it comes to makeup. But you want to know something that's super sad? This palette here is only $1 more than this one, and this one is, like I said, the worst palette out there. This one is for $15, and this one is only $16. So I'm just kind of blown away by, yeah, one is a drugstore, but it's practically the same price as this one, and this one is so much better. So pigmented, so, you know, blends out super well, and yeah, so this, I don't know, NYX, you don't have an excuse. So yeah, that's gonna conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel. I do appreciate it. And also give this video a thumbs up if this is the types of videos that you like seeing. And also comment down below what palettes were your favorites. What do you own any of these palettes? Which ones you like? Which ones you don't like? Just anything like that. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!